Summertime, the time of baseball and barbecues and getting impaled to death by a gigantic saw. But make sure you know the brand name of the saw that impaled you, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you know the Mark of the Blade, which is the new song from Whitechapel off of the album Mark of the Blade, which is coming in the last week of June. Coverkillernation, we didn't talk about the big track from last week. We didn't talk about Stranded by Gojira. Why are you going to talk about that one, but not this one? Well, Krang, I was in the middle of a marathon, thank you very much, but we'll talk about it a little bit here, considering there's a similar complaint that will probably register between both tracks. So, Mark of the Blade is a track that doesn't even clock in at 3 minutes. It's in fact about 2:55, and it's one that right whenever you hear this introduction, right whenever you hear the chugga chugga choo choo riff that gets this thing going, you immediately think to yourself, did I click on the right video? Oh wait, I'm listening to a modern Whitechapel track. It actually sounded like I was listening to a song by a brand new band, Whitechapel, or potentially Whitebreed. And no, those aren't white power sig heel bullshits that you'd hear from, some moron that's, wearing a sheet, either that or Phil Anselmo. No, instead this is something that's just, it really bears in mind and makes you think a lot about Whitechapel, the very stagnant, very one-dimensional and monochrome riff that really sets up all of the verses for this track, and it's something that you hear quite a bit. So this chugga 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 choo choo riff train is one that is not going to very many stations. Think about those riff trains that you see, or really just the trains that you see at an amusement park that just go around and around and around in a circle, and you pretty much get what this riff feels like. That's exactly what it feels like. The lyrics that go along with this also feel a bit cheesy, a bit forced, This is one that feels 100% like, extreme metal mainstream, if you know what I'm saying. Like, this is something where Whitechapel, which was once a very well-respected band within this genre of music with some of the earliest material, has now somehow fallen flat. What's the word that we're using to really describe this song? Is it simplistic? Wait a minute, that's what a lot of people were saying about Stranded by Gojira last week. That's what they were saying. Those that didn't like this song said that one was very, very simplistic. And really, whenever you consider the formula of that song, it really is kind of simplistic. They were able to do a lot more, though, with the just 4 or 5 different riff or different ideas that they presented in that song. Whether it be the way in which it was presented, the way in which the songwriting crafted this track, it was just one that felt a little bit more fresh, that had a lot more movement to it, especially once you got to the end point of the track where those clean vocals hit, and it was something that was a bit different. So, what makes that song, which is simple, better than this song, which is simple? Well, there's no real surprise on the Whitechapel song. There's no surprise on Mark of the Blade. It's one that's supposed to be, and meant to be, a lot more direct. But even that direct nature doesn't feel very direct. It's instead one that feels like you see the guy and it's about to punch you in the face coming from about 200 feet away, as opposed to being blindsided by him, either that or only seeing him coming at the last second before his fist hits your face. It's a very predictable idea, and a very predictable song is essentially what I'm getting at. So, what does that lead us to think about the remainder of Mark of the Blade whenever it comes out? Well, this isn't exactly a good first impression. Now, those that really enjoy the more commercial side of metal, if you want to call it that, this is still extreme metal, so you're not going to exactly hear this on the radio. But those that enjoy this side of Whitechapel will be, satisfied with this track, considering it has that direct, in-your-face approach that they kind of crave and kind of like. It's going to help them get pumped up, Dude, bro, I'm getting pumped up. Yeah. But in reality, whenever it comes to where this band's career is at, really kind of continuing a bit of a downward spiral. I'm hoping that the rest of the album boasts a little bit more diversity, which will boost the album's overall charm. But as of right now, not looking good. What did you guys think about Mark of the Blade by Whitechapel? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, what did you think about Stranded by Gojira? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Coverkillernation, and I'm about to review some album by a band whose name I can't pronounce, which is going to be tons of fun for you guys. Consider you'd be like, well, actually, you're supposed to pronounce it like this, where all of the lisp and all of the different inflection is on the M. Even though there's 7 M's, 3 A's and 19 vowels. You need to put it all on the M. Actually, no, not even on the M. All on the J that doesn't exist. That's just the way it works. I'll talk to you guys later.